Hello, Mama. Have you ever felt lost in motherhood? Maybe you've whispered thoughts like, why do I always put myself last, even when I'm running on empty? Or why do I snap so easily over the smallest things? Maybe you've thought, why is it so hard to say what I feel or say what I need? Or perhaps you've had thoughts of, who even am I anymore? If any of that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not broken. So, why is it that so many mothers feel exhausted, snappy, or shut down? Here's what most parenting advice misses. What you're feeling isn't just about being tired or overwhelmed. And it's definitely not because you're doing something wrong. What if I told you much of what you're experiencing in motherhood is shaped by deep inherited patterns passed down from your generations before you and also from your childhood? Because you didn't just inherit your eye color, your hair color, you inherited beliefs, roles, and survival strategies. And these patterns shape how you show up today, often without you even realizing. The good news, once you can see these patterns, you can begin to shift them. So firstly, who am I to share this? If we haven't met, I'm Kattlen, an occupational therapist of over 11 years, and also a trained systemic family constellations practitioner. What I do is I help mothers break free from inherited emotional patterns. I help them regulate their nervous system and reconnect with who they truly are outside of motherhood so that they can parent from a place of clarity instead of chaos. So in this video today, I'm going to walk you through the 4 most common patterns that I see in the mothers that I work with and what you can do to start breaking the cycle so that you can show up in a way that you desire. So the first pattern is the mum who says yes, even when deep down you want to say no. You're constantly meeting everyone else's needs while your own needs get pushed down to the bottom. You keep going for your kids, your partner, your work, even when your tank is empty. And you might even feel guilty for wanting something for yourself or wanting some time and space alone. Now, how this affects you in motherhood is, I know you adore your child, but maybe you've lost touch with who you are, your passions, your dreams, and your identity. So underneath, there's often exhaustion, resentment, and a silent longing to really be seen and cared for yourself. Now, if this sounds like your default mode, then you likely hold the overgiver pattern. Now, where it comes from is you were taught from a young age, often subconsciously, that love equals sacrifice. You may have been the good girl, rewarded for being helpful and selfless. So here's what to do instead. Start a simple daily 5-minute check-in with yourself. What do I need right now? Then say yes to one small thing just for you each day without guilt. Start small. Maybe it's just a cup of tea. And then reflect. When did I learn that putting myself last was the right thing to do? The second pattern I see is the mothers who feel safest when everything is in their control. The snacks, the naps, the mess, the schedule, your partner, and maybe even yourself. You might be second guessing every single parenting decision. You might even fear that you're doing things wrong. Your nervous system goes into overdrive when things feel out of control. Whether it's the house being messy, the kids are being loud, or plans change. Now, how this affects you in motherhood is you start to feel responsible for every detail. You rarely delegate because no one can do it right. Unpredictability feels unsafe, and you're trying to do it all, but you're exhausted. And if this sounds like you, then you likely have the manager pattern. Now, this isn't just about being your type A personality. Where this comes from is it's often a response to growing up in an unpredictable or high pressure environment where control meant safety. Now, this pattern can also come from families that held significantly high expectations. So here's what to try. Introduce good enough as the new standard. What if 70% done was good enough? One small step. Let something be imperfect and notice what happens in your body. And then also ask, who in my family needed control to feel safe? Now, the next pattern that I see is when you're feeling overwhelmed or hurt or neglected and you go quiet, shutting down or just numbing out. Saying things like, I'm overwhelmed or I need help just really isn't in your vocabulary. You avoid conflict and bottle things up just to keep the peace and avoid any confrontation. Now, how this affects you in motherhood is you perhaps learned from an early age that speaking up wasn't safe. So silence became your strategy. But inside, you may feel invisible, lonely, misunderstood, or perhaps even resentful. Does this sound like you? Then your default pattern is all bottled up. Now, where it comes from is you may have grown up where emotions were mocked, they were dismissed, unsafe to express, or even punished. Perhaps only certain emotions were accepted, like calm or happy. Maybe you were rewarded as a child for being easy or calm or quiet. So now you stay quiet in motherhood to stay safe. So here's what to try. Start expressing how you feel in slow, low-risk ways, like journaling, voice notes, or quiet conversations with yourself first. Now notice what happens in your body when you avoid speaking up. Do you notice any tension? Now I also want you to reflect, was I taught to hide how I really feel, or was that someone else's expectations on me? Now, the last pattern that I see is the mother who, with every intention to show up as calm and patient, but find themselves yelling. Then the guilt hits hard and the shame can linger for hours, if not days. You promise to do it better next time, but the pattern repeats again and again. You keep getting triggered, but you just don't know how to stop it. Now, how this one affects you in motherhood is you love your kids so deeply, but you wonder if you're damaging your child. And that shame spiral makes you question yourself. What's wrong with me? Now, if this sounds like you, then you're likely having the guilt-ridden yeller pattern. Now, where this pattern comes from is you may have grown up in a home where anger just wasn't handled well. It was either explosive, avoided completely, or punished. Now, you weren't guided how to feel and move through these emotions safely, so now it explodes out of you. So here's what to do instead. Learn the repair process with yourself. Telling yourself, okay, I yelled. That was my reaction. I am still a good mother, and I can repair this. Begin the repair process with yourself first before with your child. Now, often anger is a cover-up for other emotions, such as sadness, fear, a sense of powerlessness, grief. So I want you to ask yourself, what's underneath my anger? And I want you to get curious. Who in my family struggled with anger and how did they deal with it? So now you have the four most common patterns that I see in the mothers that I work with. We'll quickly recap, the first being the overgiver pattern, always putting others first, silencing your own needs. The second pattern is the manager, controlling everything because unpredictability feels uncomfortable or unsafe. The third is all bottled up, staying quiet and disconnecting to keep the peace. And then the last one is the guilt-ridden yeller, reacting in ways that you don't want to, then spiraling into guilt or shame. Now, you might see yourself in one of these patterns or perhaps a blend of a few, and that's completely normal. These aren't flaws. They are protective survival strategies that your system has learnt in order to keep you safe. And they likely worked for a little while. But now they're holding you back from being the kind of mother that you want to be and creating a life for you and your child that is different to how you grew up. So what do? Knowing that change begins with one small step, this week, I want you to try one strategy from this video. Gently, consistently, and with compassion. If something landed for you today and you might have had a moment of recognition of, oh, this is deeper than I thought, then I want you to know that that's not small. It means that you're starting to see the truth and that how you show up in motherhood isn't just about the present moment, that it's shaped by your childhood. It's shaped by your nervous system's responses, automatic responses, and also shaped by generations that came before you. Now, the good news is you're not stuck, and there is a different way forward without having to repeat these patterns. Now, if you're ready to break the cycle and begin a new chapter for yourself and for your children, I'd love to invite you into the Cycle Breaker Mothers. It's my 6-week journey where I guide mothers through deep, lasting changes using systemic family constellations. Now, in that program, we'll uncover what you've been carrying and help you to finally let it go. Inside, you'll learn to understand your emotional triggers, reconnect to your needs, your truth, your identity, and your calm. And you'll also uncover and release those patterns that don't belong to you. This is lineage level healing. And not just for you, but for your children and for all of the generations that come after you. So click on the link below to join the waitlist. So when the doors open, you will be the first to know. I only offer it to a small group of mothers so that I can give them the intimate care and safety that they deserve. And you'll also get access to early bird bonuses. Healing doesn't happen in isolation. So let's walk this path together.